One of the themes in the Gospel of Luke is the great reversal. God manages to turn our usual expectations upside down. The prayer of Mary, called the Magnificat, when she visits her cousin Elizabeth, gives us an example in the following words. He casts down the mighty from their thrones and has lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty. Our gospel today gives another example in the parable of the two who went up to the temple to pray. The Pharisee's prayer concentrates more on himself than upon God. In fact, the gospel says he spoke this prayer to himself. His prayer focuses on bolstering himself up by putting down the tax collector. He focuses on his fast and his tithes to the temple. In stark contrast, the tax collector asks for God's mercy. His prayer is like the prayer of our psalm today. His sacrifice to God is a contrite heart, a contrite spirit, a heart contrite and humbled. Looking at these two men on the surface and not at their hearts as God would, we assume the worst for the tax collector. But Jesus reveals the great reversal. That is, the one who humbled himself is the one who went home justified. So during this Lenten season, this gospel reminds us to focus on changing our hearts and not falling into the temptation of getting all puffed up by the prayer, fasting, or almsgiving we may do. This is not a time to compare ourselves to others, but to be sure that our practices are leading us to love more and to be more merciful. For example, one of my spiritual directors once told me to be careful about what I gave up. If giving something up made me more irritable and uncomfortable to be around, that was not a good idea. So we are challenged today to decide which of the two in this parable will we be this Lent. Will we, through our prayer and penance, come to understand God's mercy more and approach God with a contrite spirit? Or will we just inflate our self-image as we compare ourselves to those who don't do as much as we are doing? The gospel is clear. In the great reversal, God will cast down the mighty from their thrones and lift up the lowly. He will fill the hungry with good things and send the rich away empty. So Jesus, through the words of St. Luke, asks us, which one are we going to be? There is still time in Lent to prepare for the great reversal. Amen? Amen.